Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 33 of a Disney Life podcast. My name is Rachel, and I am joined here by my co host, Missy. Good morning, Missy.
Hi, Rachel. It's good to see you today. It's actually not morning, so I don't know why you're saying that.
Yes, this will air in the morning, but it is for once we are actually not recording in the mornings.
I never
Good
know what to
afternoon.
say to our friends that are listening during our intro because I feel like they could be listening to it anytime, day or night. So while I very much feel like it's morning right now, it's 2:30 in the afternoon, the day we're recording this. I feel like it's morning. Whatever time of day it is where you happen to be listening from, thank you for being here and spending that time of your day with us and
We
our
appreciate
chaos.
Yes, absolutely. So speaking of chaos, we are getting artistic today, and we're going to be talking about the Epcot International Festival of the Arts, which started just a few days before this podcast will actually air. We're going to be talking about all the things that you can find to do there, some of the special things that go on at this particular festival. Our top five today will be our top five at this year's Food Studios at the Festival of the Arts. We also have a listener question about Magic Kingdom's fireworks dessert parties viewing areas and what the differences are between the different areas where you can view the fireworks. And Missy will close us out with our tip of the week. So stick around as we talk about today, Festival of the Arts today. So, the Festival of the Arts will take place from January 16th to February 23rd, 2026. This is one of the shortest festivals that takes place at Epcot. I believe Festival of the Holidays may be shorter just because of the holiday season, but this is a pretty short festival when compared to the Food and Wine Festival and the Flower and Garden Festival. However, I often hear from people that this is their favorite festival. What about you, Missy? Is this one of your favorites? Does it fall there on that category?
So it absolutely does. It may depend on the day, what one I would say is my favorite, because I love the holidays at Walt Disney World. So Festival of the Holidays is always right at the top for me. But if we excluded that and just compared it to the other festivals, Flower and Garden and Food and Wine, I would definitely say Festival of the Arts is my favorite. And it definitely has more to do. I think there's more activity, more entertainment than there is at any one of the other festivals that you can experience at Epcot.
Yes, there is a lot of entertainment, a lot of interactive things for guests to do, which I think sets this festival apart from so many of the others. And we'll talk through a lot of those interactive things that you can find, even interactive things for your kids. So don't think that this is just going to be another festival that the kids have to miss out on some fun. There's a lot for the kids to do, and my kids have really enjoyed this one in the past too.
But to be clear, I am also saying that it's my favorite food also. So while I think there's more to do, the more to do is not the reason it's my favorite. It's because of the food. I love the food at this festival. I've had some great experiences there in the past. Now, of course, it just started. So I haven't been there yet this year, but I do have a trip next month planned. I know you do as well, Rachel, to get down there and experience this festival. So for the purpose of today's podcast, we'll be talking through what's available this year and what some of our favorites are based off the menus and our previous experience and our top five for today.
Yes, I actually planned out my travel schedule so I could spend a good amount of time exploring the festival because I've only really in years past, I have been to the festival a few times and only really been able to dedicate a day with children as well. So I don't think that I've experienced, especially all the food booths that I wanted to. So I'm excited. I'm dedicating 2 days to that this upcoming trip. All right, so let's start talking about some of the entertainment that you can find where some of the other festivals will have concert series that take place or the Candlelight Processional. At Festival of the Arts, you will find Disney on Broadway. So if you are a Broadway fan of Disney musicals, there will be several performances at the America Gardens Theater and the American Adventure Pavilion featuring songs from Broadway hits Aladdin, Frozen, The Lion King, Mary Poppins, Tarzan, Newsies, and so many others. And these will take place. Well, I'll say this. I remember Food and Wine. I went to the last day of the concert series to go see the Beach Boys play. And there were still a couple of days left of the um, festival going on. I believe these Broadway performances go up until the very final day. So that is exciting. If you want to go and catch those, you do have more of an opportunity to do so. Performances will take place at 5:30, 6:45, and 8 p.m.
Right? That's exactly what I had as notes for that. So that's perfect, Rachel. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah. And if seeing one of the shows is very important to you, now they do have different performers who will be coming in who have been featured in different Broadways, and
Actual
then
Broadway shows. So these are
yes,
people
actual
who
Broad
have been or are on Broadway in these Disney productions. So it's a pretty
yeah,
special thing to see. Uh, I'll admit I'm not really up on my Broadway information, Broadway trivia, Broadway current goings on. While I do love it, my kids certainly are more up to date on things that are going on. When we get these schedules for Candlelight Processional or Eat to the Beat, we're looking at them and looking for those famous names that are so recognizable in most houses. Some of these names you may not recognize as immediately, but you may be pleasantly surprised if you attend one of these concert series events because the talent is absolutely incredible. And when we were
mhm,
down there last year for Festival of the Arts, and when I say we were there for Festival of the Arts, I mean we actually scheduled a weekend. We had passes that we were able to use, so we didn't have to worry about park tickets. And the kids were just so busy, as were my husband and I. We really just had 2 nights to get down there, and we dedicated it to going to Festival of the Arts. And it didn't even occur to me ahead of time to look and see who was there with the Broadway series. And we happened to be walking by, and my kids were so excited to see who it was because it was someone recognizable to them. So
mhm.
this doesn't mean that person isn't recognizable or amazing. It just means I'm out of the loop. I don't know that kind of stuff. But my kids are very current on what's happening on Broadway and with music and musical theater. So they were very excited to be able to just kind of pop in and get a seat and be able to see some of that concert series. So it's exciting. Plus, they have the costume. They had a bunch of costumes there in Communicore Hall, which will be there
Mhm.
again this year, too.
Yes.
I believe they're calling that is that what's called Once Upon a Stage, The Magic of Disney
Yes,
on
yes.
Broadway, right?
Don't get confused with the Broadway actual series that takes place in the American Gardens Theater in this, the costumes that are on display, but I have not seen the costumes on display. I think that's pretty recent addition to the festival that they've
Mhm.
started, in the last year or 2, so I have not seen those, so I'll have to pop in and see those, but I wanted to mention too, the concert series, there will be a finale performance on February 22nd and 23rd, well, they will have multiple Broadway stars coming at the same time. One I did recognize, I will agree with Missy, I'm not too up to date on current Broadway happenings, but Susan Egan will be there, and she was the voice of Megara in Hercules.
Susan Egan is, like, everywhere these days. She is the
Yes, yes,
godmother of the
yes,
Disney
she's been in a
Destiny,
lot
so
of
I know
things.
she
Yeah.
was on board sailings when the Destiny, started maiden voyage this fall, so she is somebody whose voice may be pretty recognizable even if you're
Mhm.
just used to hearing her through your TV screen as well,
Yeah,
so that's exciting. Yeah, and that's a
it is.
good finale, I think, for that festival this year.
Right, and you can also get the dining packages, as we've mentioned with other festivals, those take place, you can book those in advance, and if it's really important that you go and see a show, we do recommend getting those booked in advance, those will open up 60 days prior, which at this point, you're past the 60 days prior, so get on those dining packages if you have it, and Regal Eagle Smokehouse does have same-day packages if you can get there early enough, but so, yeah, Once Upon a Stage, The Magic of Disney on Broadway will be at Communicore Hall, where you can find props, costumes from The Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. So those will take place. Maybe no Taylor Swift that we are aware of, because that is not Broadway,
That's not
but
Broadway. No,
also
you may
but
not have the
still
crowds there that we saw for that, but yeah, this is supposed to be open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day throughout the festival, so you can kind of pop into Communicore Hall there at any time of the day. It was very well organized last year, but it was kind of crowded. They did kind of have a little bit of a holding line outside, and unlike some times of the year when you could walk in either end, I guess you would say, of the Communicore Hall building, they had one marked as an entrance and the other as an exit, and that really helped with the traffic flow to get everybody through and see everything. So I would anticipate it'll be something similar to that for this year's festival. It gave you the opportunity to be able to see everything without just crazy congestion and people coming from all directions. So I thought it was a really smart move on their part.
yeah, and regardless of what you think about the actual Communicore Hall, especially during non-festival times or other times of the year, it is very impressive what they can transform this space into because it can
Mhm.
be a little stale looking, but from what I've seen of photos in the past, they've done an excellent job with these costume displays. So it is very
Mhm.
well done, very well put together. Another thing with the American Gardens Theater is that you can take place in an animation academy that goes on there. So they will have featured artists throughout, and 12:30 and 1:30 p.m. daily, you can go and learn how to draw one of the beloved Disney characters. Have Have you ever done that before?
Well, I have not there at Festival of the Arts. I remember years ago, I think I mentioned this in a recent episode when we were talking about the studios and the changes we're seeing there. I could remember doing the Animation Academy over in Hollywood Studios before, but I've never done it here at the American Gardens Theater. So I think that's probably a pretty neat thing to do. And it's might be a good break in the middle of the day too. If you're touring around even with kids, they can sit there and see what maybe they can learn about sketching and doing a little Disney animation. So it's a pretty fun thing. And I don't really
Yeah.
think it's nothing you really hear people talk about very often, but it's a really fun thing that they offer. And it's
Yes,
free.
and
I mean, these things
yeah,
we're talking about are things that now, of course, you have to pay if you're doing the dinner package for the concert series, but the other things we're discussing, you can just go and do for no cost. And if you're not doing dinner package for the concert series and you want to wait in the standby line, that's absolutely free as well, included with your
mhm,
park admission. I guess I
yeah.
should say not free.
Yes,
Nothing's
including with a
free.
park admission, yeah, you can't
Nothing's free.
please don't try to walk in the gates and say, "I'm here for the festival," and
Yes.
just keep going, you will be
They told
asked
me on
not
the
to.
podcast that I can just come in for this.
So instead of a cookie stroll at this one, there is a wonderful walk of colorful cuisine that takes place at the Festival of the Arts. And the food booths, there are several different options that you can get with your festival passport. We've mentioned how much we love those passport books, and you will need this one for this colorful stroll. You will purchase any 5 color stroll items and get a stamp for each. Once you have gotten your stamps, you can bring them to Deco Delights and receive a special treat from there. So I know one of them is the Enchanted Rose. I have seen that in the past. It is a beautiful dessert. It's a dark chocolate mousse, in case you are wondering. But there are several, mostly, I think, mostly sweet. Most all of them are sweet that you can get for this colorful walk. Some savory items on there too. But that's something fun. That's something fun that the kids might enjoy as well, as opposed to a cookie stroll. Although I do love cookie strolls.
The cookie stroll's better, and I have done the colorful walk before. I'm trying to find it in my notes. I know I had notes on it, and I'm not seeing it. I had it last. I thought we were talking about food last, so I
Well,
did not
we're
have
not
that.
gonna go all the way into the
Rachel,
food. I'm just talking
my
about
word, Rachel, you're getting me
just
out
talking
of
about the color
order.
stroll. We're just gonna do there.
So Rachel told me today I had to be limited with what I talked about food. She's only letting me talk about it in the top 5, and I have it all the way in the back of my notes, and now she's throwing this in here. Yes, the wonderful walk of colorful cuisine. I remember doing it before. We had a very, I guess you'd call it unfortunate day there a few years back when it was in the it was like 40 degrees and raining, and it was cold rain, and we were miserable. So I could remember
Mhm.
trying to tackle this event in those conditions, and it was not great. So I struggled to remember anything we even ate that day. But I always love these little adventures that they send you on and getting the passport book. We've talked about that here before. So it works the same way as the other strolls work. And, something you want to do, go ahead and do it. And there's usually a fun little treat at the end. So, a little
Yeah,
prize.
sorry about that. So, we'll get more into food later. Well,
I
okay,
may
let's get
have
back to
had something much more helpful and smarter to say about it, but since my note isn't right in front of me, you just got what I had on
I'm
the top
terribly
of my head.
sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Well,
Sorry,
let's get
friends.
back
Rachel
and
is
talk
mean.
about the artwork that I can do, which is paint by numbers.
Oh,
So there
mhm.
is an expression section with the paint by numbers mural. Do you have the murals been announced for this year yet? Have they released the designs?
I didn't realize that was something they did ahead of time, and I kinda thought it changed day by day also. Like,
It
you don't know
changes
what you're
every few
doing
days.
until
Yeah, it changes
right.
every few days. I do maybe it was because when we were there and we did the paint by numbers last time, we got like a sticker or pad or something that had all of the murals on it
I see.
together.
I think so what I recall from the times that we've done it is when we actually went and participated, they gave us a little card, like a bookmark that had the
Mhm.
finished mural on it, so you knew what the end target of it was. I was actually thinking about this over the weekend and thought, wow, I need to get on Disney's website and make sure they're still doing this because for the longest time, the mural was on a construction wall because
Yeah.
Epcot was under construction for so long. And I started thinking, like, where would they even have this? But they do still have it.
Yeah.
It's at let's see, the expression section booth, and it's open from 11 a.m. till 5. So don't wait till
Mhm.
too late in the day if you'd like to participate in that. And it's in the walkway between World Showcase and the Imagination Pavilion is where you can find that this year. But it's super fun. I think when
Yes.
we've done it, they've given us just a little, just a tiny container and a sponge brush, and they give us your assigned number. You know, they say like, okay, you go and find everything that's number 7, and all of them, and you can choose. I think it's 6 blocks is what it usually is. Color in 6 blocks with the number 7 on it. There I go, 6 7 again.
No, no.
And, can't get away from that. You don't
Yeah.
realize how many times you say those numbers together
Yes.
until
Yes. Yeah.
you're in a position that you have 8-year-olds screaming the numbers back at you all the time, and then you become more aware of it, but,
Yeah.
I think that paint by number thing is really cool. The only thing that, been disappointed about over the years with that is we often don't get back to that area to see it before we leave, because
Yeah.
oftentimes we'll be exiting the back of the park depending on what resort we're staying in, so we may not make the trek back towards the other side of the park to see it. But it's super fun, and I think sometimes it takes a couple days for it to be completed. Also, on the
Yeah.
rainy day we were there, it all washed away and was terrible.
Oh, no, that's horrible.
So not
This is
waterproof.
Yeah, no. This is another really fun activity to do with your kids. Each of you get a different paint color and a number and go and find that and help them be a part of creating this mural. So I highly recommend that one. Highly recommend going and picking that up. Again, something that's complimentary for you to do. Another thing that you can get in on with the festival magic that's going on there. You can also, there is a Figments brush with the Master Scavenger Hunt, and that is really geared towards children. Now, this is an additional fee. This is a 11.99 plus tax. You go to one of the stores, Disney Traders, Station Shop, or World Traveler, to pick up your map and your stickers. Then you set out to go and find Figment around each World Showcase pavilion. He's hiding inside art that's inspired by famous works. Look for the Figment themed picture frame, and every time you find him, add this corresponding sticker to your map. And then you can turn it into one of the stores where you picked up the map for an artful keepsake. So that will be taking place until February 23rd as well.
The
Now,
next thing I
another,
have on my list is the
uh
kids' chalk art. Is that
yeah,
something you guys have participated in, Rachel? I don't think I've ever participated. So here's the thing, I can feel super artistic when they say go color in all the number sixes or 6 number 6s or whatever with this and stay in the lines. I can handle that. That's where I max out. So I've not done any chalk art or anything that even resembled anything artistic in the rest of the park. So how
yeah.
about
So
you?
this is just an open space where kids can go and play with chalk. Yes, we do
So
absolutely.
it's basically sidewalk chalk freestyle in the
It's
park.
sidewalk talk at
Okay.
Walt Disney World. So, this is also open from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., and this is located in World Celebration near the Imagination Pavilion. Last time we participated in it, it was actually closer to the Odyssey Pavilion, if that is
Okay.
still what it's called. But
Mhm.
closer to where the Figment statue for the 50th anniversary, it was closer to that area, but now it says it's near the Imagination Pavilion. But
Right.
yes, my kids had a great time just drawing. There's nothing for them to color in. There's nothing else other than for them just to have fun. So we let them kind of get out some energy there for a few minutes. And again, it's a great way for your kids to participate in the festival where they don't necessarily have this opportunity in other festivals throughout the year.
What I have seen is the chalk art drawn by actual artists, which is
Yes.
insanely impressive to see. I've stumbled upon that a few times, and that's amazing, especially when they're actually there actively working on it. Do yourself a favor and take the time. If you stumble across one of these artists with their chalk actively working, stop and watch them work their magic because it is so impressive to see the artistic capabilities that they have. And that is
Yes.
all over, like it's around World Showcase. I have most often seen it like in the port of entry area there, it seems, where you first enter World Showcase. What's your experience been with that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different chalk things that you can find. You can find characters around World Showcase. I know, usually in Italy, you might see Lady and the Tramp or characters from Luca. So you can find those. They're kind of hidden in their respective areas. You might find Abu in Morocco. So it'll be interesting to see which ones are located where. But there are also galleries along the bridge to World Showcase Plaza. These are so impressive. And there's always one that is kind of a play on depth perception. Have you seen that one before? It's usually larger
I
than all
have.
the others. Yes.
Yes, I have. That's what I was referring to. And I can't explain it any better than you did. I don't remember exactly what it was, but yes, The depth perception was what was so incredibly impressive with it because
Yeah.
it looked like whatever it was, it felt like, you were going down in a hole or something like
Yes.
that. It
Yeah. Yeah, so they will have a spot for you to stand on the actual chalk art, and for whoever is taking your photo, the perfect spot for them to stand to take the photo for the correct depth perception of the, I guess, more of an optical illusion as well. But that one is always really fun, and that one's very large, and they do really have sections kind of roped off of it, so other guests can't just go and trample on it. And, you can get the perfect picture there of your, I don't know, falling through a hole in, the middle of Epcot. So, it's really fun.
If you've ever been to a Disney park with me, you know that I love to whip my phone out and take pictures of pretty much everything. I basically do nothing with them, and I'm not a photographer, so they're not that great, but I love to do it. And one of my favorite things to do at the Festival of the Arts is participate in the photo ops that they have. They have what they call artful photo ops. And these are staged areas where they'll have a pretty elaborate display for you to be a part in. They do have Disney PhotoPass photographers on hand to take your photo. So if you have Memory Maker, it will be included with that, or they will use your phone or camera for you to take the photo if you'd like. They're all over from International Gateway and around World Showcase, and you could experience different things like being a part of the Mona Lisa. There is a tea time one with penguins from Mary Poppins. That one's on the Bridge to World Showcase. There's a forest scene from Sleeping Beauty. The one that I think we entertain ourselves the most with is the one in the American Adventure Pavilion, which is Washington crossing the Delaware. And you can put yourself right in that scene and look out and cross the Delaware along with George Washington. So we always have a lot of fun with those. That's the kind of thing that I've even gotten my parents to hop in photos and participate in before because they're just silly little things and gives you a little bit of education on what the actual piece of art is also. Maybe start a discussion with your kids, young or old, about some famous paintings. So I think that's a really fun thing to do there. And when I think about the festival, other than the food, that's the thing I think of first.
Yes, this and the paint by numbers would be the first 2 things that I think of other than the food, and
Mhm.
this one's really fun, and, there's typically you typically don't have to wait in any sort of line to get your picture taken. I think, sometimes guests who may not be aware of what they are there for may not exactly know that you can just know you're supposed to walk right through there and get your photo. In recent years too, I've seen several of these at the Magic Kingdom around Christmas time. They'll have
Mhm.
one for like a holiday greetings, and if you go in the fall around Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party time, you can also find them at different parts throughout the Magic Kingdom. So I love these photo opportunities. It's really a great backdrop and probably something pretty easy for Disney to assemble. Now, this is how long it's been. I think it's been 3 years since I've attended the Festival of the Arts, so I'm very excited to go next month, but, we had a Neverland scene from Peter Pan that my girls got in on, and, Meredith was just a tiny infant at that point. I think she was 3
Aw.
months old. Yes. Yeah, so that one is really fun, but I would agree Washington Crossing the Delaware or the Scream, those are both really fun to get in on
I think the
and take your
Scream is still
photo.
there for this year. I think I read that on the
Yes,
list, so
yeah, it
that one
is
will
there
still be
between
there too.
Italy and Germany, you can find the Scream also, but, yeah, go in and take your picture, and, like I said, there's not usually a long line or any sort of line whatsoever to go and do that, but these make a lot of great vacation memories for your family, and, they're just fun that Disney added these in on with the Festival of the Arts.
So we just yapped about a lot of things, mostly not even talking about food. So I think our listeners can probably understand if they haven't actually been to Festival of the Arts before, it has a whole lot more to do than just eat at food booths. And I think when people
Mhm.
think of the Epcot festivals, that's the thing they think of, rightfully so. But there are other things to do at Epcot for Festival of the Arts. So Rachel, have you held me off long enough? Can we get into our top 5 now and
Yes,
talk
now we can
about
finally talk about
food?
our yes, our favorite subject, food. So let's get into food pigs at the, studio booths at Festival of the Arts.
So yeah, that's the first thing is they call them food studios. I don't know why we can't just call them food booths like we always do, but I guess
Yeah.
they're just too cute to let us get away with using the same name
Yes.
year round. So they are known as food studios and they are plentiful. Possibly not as many as some of the other festivals I feel like Food and Wine may have more, but I don't know. There's an awful lot of these. I didn't count them, but there are a lot. And same thing with
Mhm.
all the festivals. Pick up your passport when you enter. You can also look at it in the app. But if you want to participate in the stroll, you'll need to have the book to be able to do your stickers in. But why don't you go ahead, Rachel, with your number five on your top five food thing? If we have all the same things, I'm going to be a little sad because I want to talk about more foods. So,
Okay, well, I think I don't know that we will because and I will say, so if you have not seen it, you can go on Walt Disney World's website and check out the food booths. Another great location is getting on the Disney Parks blog and looking at the foodie guide. So my number 5 is the deconstructed key lime pie at the deconstructed dish menu.
dang it, Rachel. That's my number five.
Well, at least it's the same number. All right. So, fully admit in the past, they've done several deconstructed dishes. They didn't always look appealing to me. This one does. It looks much more appealing to me. I think the waffle cone triangles really sell it for me this year.
Yes, this is a new version of this. I think we've had deconstructive key lime pie before. This is a new one. I did enjoy the last one, although it wasn't as amazing as it could have been. I have a problem when it comes to key lime pie that I always just want it to be the key lime pie on a stick from Kermit's in Key West. Like that's my go-to place. I want chocolate dip key lime pie. So deconstructed is a little out of my comfort zone, but it still tastes good when you put it all together. And I'm the deconstructed booth, I think, has become something that's kind of a joke in my family. Back when we went several years ago and took our kids for the first time, I think it was the first year they had this booth. And it was that very cold day when we were trying to do the stroll. And Annie was pretty little at the time and was kind of obsessed with it. We had my dad along with us. It was and Disney's not his typical thing. My parents were going on a cruise with us the following day, so we convinced them, let's add on, go a little early, we'll go to this festival. And he just heard the word deconstructed so many times because we keep talking about it. And when he's actually going to be there, both of my parents will be there with us next month for I've talked about it before. Annie's big high school band trip is next month. And when it was time to plan our dining, and I said, is there anywhere you really want to eat? He said, I'll tell you what I don't want to do. I don't want to do that deconstructed. And that was his way of saying he didn't want to have to run around World Showcase to try to find his food on the stroll. So I don't really know if I really like the deconstructed key lime pie that much, or if it's just a sentimental thing for me that it reminds me of my dad and that day that we spent there. But I
Well,
definitely
I
will be
hope
trying this, and I'm gonna make him
yes.
try it too, and we will certainly do a trip
Well,
report after that trip and fill you in on how it goes.
your deconstructed food. I just think this one looks a lot more appealing than it has in years past. This looks kind of like a
Uh-huh,
dip as opposed to where you have just different pieces piled up onto a plate in a pretty
mhm.
row with, some artistic, flair. But, yeah, the waffle cone triangles, being able to dip those in there, that is why this one's made my number 5. This one is near Test Track at the deconstructed dish menu. Don't sleep on Test Track during the festivals. There are usually a couple of booths that are located over in that area.
Mhm.
And a lot of times these are not super crowded because people are used to going to World Showcase for the remaining booths. So be sure you stop by there and get your deconstructed food. We all want
Right.
deconstructed food.
It's true. Alright, what do you have for me next?
Okay, so I have the stoned baked Moroccan bread with assorted dips. Do you have that
I
one?
don't have it. Okay, so
Okay,
tell
well,
me
there we
about
go. We
it.
were different.
Tell me about it.
But this is at the Tangerine Cafe, the flavors of the Medina menu in Morocco, and I am a sucker for bread. So anything with bread and dips is just that's exactly what I enjoy snacking on and eating. So this one definitely made my list because I don't have to share it when I'm there next time.
Alright,
All
that's a
right,
good
what's your
one. That's good, and
yeah.
it's pretty different than what I have. My next one is something that you'll find at Pop Eats, and it's the grilled cheese and tomato soup. So, and again, and I promise this is probably the last time in this episode I'll talk about that fateful day. It was actually the perfect thing to have on a very cold day there. It was some tomato soup. They serve it in that really cute little can, and it just kind of hit the spot. So it's a tasty little thing. Everybody can have a little piece of the grilled cheese, and don't eat everything. It's hard at these festivals because you want to get everything and eat it all on your own. Don't eat everything all by yourself if possible. Take somebody to share with, find a friend if you can, so that you're not wasting food and you're getting to try as much as you can. And I think the grilled cheese is one of those things you could break it up into a couple pieces to enjoy. So that's my
Yeah.
number 4.
Pace yourself because, this is why I'm spending 2 days at Epcot my next trip, so I am staying with my bread theme, but this time I'm adding cheese to it, and,
Are you going to France?
I am going to France.
We
Are
may
you in
have the same
France at
number
some
3.
point?
I am at
Okay.
France. What is
Yeah,
it?
that's the crème de brie, petit pain. It is a warm, creamy brie. Think of
Mhm.
if you have a Panera bread and you have the soup ball, but they just fill it with brie and they bake it, and
So
it's
good.
delicious.
You guys,
Yes.
it's so good.
It is so good, and it's warm, and now this is definitely one that is good for sharing because having that much brie and bread, it is pretty filling,
Mm.
and, this is one of my
It
favorite
will
ones
tear
to
me
get
up.
every
It would
single
be a
time.
bad thing if I ate all that by myself.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Yes,
cheese for
it's
me.
yeah. Yes, and it's kind of messy too, so, be prepared to go and wash your hands or have some wipes on hand, but
Mm.
it's delicious. I can't say enough good things about this, even though so far on my menu, I've gotten 2 original items. I do have a lot of new ones coming up, so and I can guarantee you we don't have the same number 1, so
Okay. You know me, and you know what I won't eat, so I believe you with that. So, okay. But yeah, that was my number 3 as well, and it's super
Okay.
tasty and delicious. So, it may not sound real fancy, but it's good stuff. So, if you're
Mhm.
a more basic plain eater like I am, I mean, bread and cheese can't really go wrong. So,
Yeah,
good stuff. All right, are we
good
down to
bread
number
and cheese.
2 already? Man, we're
We are
barely
down to number
talking about
2.
food. We're just flying through.
Well, I
Okay.
know. Well, I will say this was a hard list to put together. I
What?
think there are more food items that I wanna try at this festival than I did at Food and Wine,
We may
and so
have
this
to
one was very
do a
hard.
future episode, a wrap up after we've both been to Festival of the Arts this year and then talk through it and see how it compares to what we thought our top 5 was going to be
Mhm.
right now to what it actually ends up being. That might be
Yeah.
fun to go through. I
Yes.
have a feeling I'm still going to love the bread and cheese, but I mean,
Yeah, yeah. As
I'm
long as they
willing to
haven't
do this
changed it.
research for the sake of the
Yes,
pod.
yes,
So,
yes.
mhm.
Yeah. We will do this research for you every ladies and gentlemen, so if you go next year, you will know what to order. Alright, so number 2, I'm going to butcher the name, and I do apologize, I do not
Uh-oh.
speak Spanish, but the tostada de cangrejo?
Hey, sounds good to me. What is it?
So this is a crispy corn tortilla topped with
Okay.
guacamole, lump crab, mango, crispy
Yeah.
onions, and hot sauce.
Wow, I
This
eat, like, a couple of those things, but
yeah,
most of
well,
them,
okay, this
no. Also,
combines
maybe
so
no.
much of food that I love. So, and if you do go on the Disney Parks blog or on the Walt Disney World website, you'll see a lot of food, photographs of what these are
Mhm.
supposed to look like, and this one looks absolutely delicious. So, I love mango, guacamole, crab. I like hot sauce. So, this one
So
has a
you'll
lot, and
need to
I'm
try that and get a
yes.
photo of it because one of the things I find interesting is there are some things that Disney will post the photo of how it's supposed to look and you get it and it looks exactly like it. And then
Mhm.
sometimes you're like, what is this? This is not what I thought. So I would like to do a little comparison to see does it look as
That
good
would
in
be good.
person as you
Yeah.
anticipate it looking when you compare it to what's on their website. So they're usually
Because
pretty
I
good at
do
that.
anticipate it looking delicious. Yeah.
I feel so I'm totally getting sidetracked here, but one of the things I don't love about mobile ordering on my Disney Experience app is that there are not photos of all the food. Like when I'm going to do a mobile order, sometimes I want to see pictures and they don't have it there. And I've always heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard they don't put it there because then you kind of hold them to it looking like that. So I feel like this puts a lot of pressure on them when they put these food studio photos out there. You know, they need to look the part because the appearance is, I would say, 75% of the game with this. I
Right?
think people
You eat
care
with your
more
eyes
about what it looks
first.
than how it actually takes because everybody's just,
Yeah.
they're in it for the gram and making those TikTok videos of it. So,
Yep. Which is what the deconstructed dishes always just
oh,
seem
no.
like to me. Like,
Right.
we're just doing this for the artistry, but this
Hmm.
year, the key lime pie actually really does look appealing to me. So,
Okay.
alright, what do you have for number 2?
All right, my number 2 is on the list even though it's new, so I haven't had it, and it's the liquid nitrogen mini cake pop. First of all, because I love the liquid nitrogen pops usually. Sometimes I don't because sometimes they're just icky flavors I don't like. This one's might be a little questionable because it's a cotton candy sponge cake inside. The best one I've ever had was a chocolate one. They had a fudgy chocolate one a few years back. That was probably the most amazing thing I've ever had at Epcot, but this cotton candy sponge cake has a white chocolate ganache and then colorful chocolate splattered around on it. And it is from the Swirled Showcase, which is on the walkway between World Showcase and the Imagination Pavilion. So I just think those liquid nitrogen pops are kinda cool. I like them. It
Mhm.
sounds like a special super sweet treat that I may like. I'm gonna give it a try, so that's how it made it up so high on my list. I'm very hopeful for it. So we'll see how
Yeah.
that goes.
Okay. So we're down to number 1, and we've so far matched
Okay.
up on 2?
2.
Yes. Okay. I kinda cheated for my number 1
Come on,
because I
Rachel.
couldn't just pick one thing. I know. I
I do have
said
an honorable mention, but it's
okay.
but
Okay.
okay, go ahead. What do you
I
got?
said the entire Goshiki menu at the Japan Pavilion.
You picked an
All of it.
entire studio. Okay.
I picked an entire studio. There is not one thing that I cannot wait to try. First of all, the sushi donut, which I love. I will double fist those sushi donuts as whenever I pass by the Japan Pavilion, I'm picking up 2. And they are wonderful. You've got tuna, tuna, salmon, shrimp, cucumber, sesame seeds over wasabi, sriracha, and eel sauce. So those are really good. This year they have 3 other new items. One is called taiyaki. This is going to sound crazy. It is a fish-shaped chocolate pastry.
Okay. Well, that might be
Yeah.
some fish I'd eat there. I mean, I do eat
Yes.
fish, but, okay. And what
Yeah.
is it made
I have.
like? I didn't
It's
see it
almost
yet.
like a wafer type.
Okay.
It will not look appealing at all. It's kind of a brownish color, and it has a fish shape
Okay.
in it. It's almost like the outside is a more of a wafer type thing, and inside is a chocolate pastry custard. And so I we had one of these a couple of years ago. We bought like a Japanese snack box thing that was delivered to us, and it had one of these in it, and we had no idea what flavor it was going to be. But these are all very sweet flavored, so we were a little bit cautious biting into it, but
Uh-huh.
it was delicious. So I'm excited to see Epcot's take on it. They also have a Tokyo Kawaii roll, which is a shrimp tempura wrapped in multicolored sushi rice and topped with refreshing yellow yuzu sauce and a tangy plum sauce. So that's a colorful one. I was kind of surprised it didn't make the colorful walk that you can do, but that one's not on there. And then a Wagyu
Yeah.
bun, steamed bun filled with a sweet and savory minced American Wagyu beef. So everything, it's all coming with me, and I'm gonna report back on all of it because it all sounds amazing to me.
Well, I appreciate your effort. I'm a little jealous that I wasn't smart enough to just cheat and call it a whole booth.
I'm
But
sorry, I did.
But praise to you for your cleverness. So very good. All right. For my number one, I do have a little honorable mention here that didn't quite make the list, but it's the dark chocolate torte from the American Adventure from Artist Table in America. It's a flourless chocolate cake with whipped cream. It has raspberries. I typically would just push those to the side because they're not really needed. The chocolate itself is what I thought was delicious last time, but that's not my number one. For my number 1, I'm
Okay.
going back to France, and it is the frozen French martini.
Oh,
So,
nice.
typically, if I'm going to Epcot and I want to have just one thing, it's going to be the Grand Marnier orange slush in France. It's my favorite drink there. It has been for a million years. I was just realizing the other day, I think I had originally heard about it back in one of those old episodes of one of the Samantha Brown shows that she used to do on the Travel Channel. Did you ever watch those?
Oh,
I think
yes.
I'm pretty sure
Very
that's
much
where I
so.
yeah, I think that's where I learned about it. In fact, I think I learned a lot about Disney hotels from her too, because in her Great Hotels show, she went to a lot of the Disney Deluxe resorts, and that's where I first
Wow.
decided I had to absolutely stay at Wilderness Lodge someday, but that's like a story for another day. I don't want to seem like a stalker. My sister was actually on a river cruise with her last summer, and I was like, go ask her where I can see great hotels because you can't stream it other than like
Fun.
lousy YouTube videos people had recorded and posted. Anyway, so this is not the Grand Marnier orange slush, but it is a very similar drink. And I always have an appreciation for their martinis there. So this one is Grey Goose vodka and it has Chambord in it, which is also something that I quite enjoy. And then it'll have some Dole pineapple juice, Minute Maid orange juice, and grape juice, and then it has a lemon lime foam on it. So it's just a tasty treat I like to get. I am someone who really likes sweet beverages, so that's right up my alley there. It's just always been a go-to, their martinis there. So it's just kind of natural for me for my number one to be one of the frozen martinis from France. So there you have it. I will try it though, and just make sure I still love it and report back
Yes, of
as
course,
always.
absolutely.
All right. Well, that was fun. I'm absolutely
Mhm.
looking forward to doing this next month. I'm so excited for it. And to report back to all of our listener friends here how things actually panned out for us and what we like the most. So
Yeah, maybe we'll just have to do a trip report for both of us just on food at the
it's
festival,
true.
so that will
Isn't
be
that
fun.
what every trip report's really about, Rachel?
Really, yes, absolutely.
It's now time for one of my favorite parts of the episode, and that is our listener question. I love getting questions in from you listeners. And today's question from a listener is for the Magic Kingdom fireworks, what are the differences in the viewing areas for the dessert parties? Rachel, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so there are 3 different dessert parties that take place inside the Magic Kingdom. I'm not going to be addressing the one that takes place at the Contemporary Resort, but there are 3 that take place inside the Magic Kingdom. These are a pre-party, a post-party, and what they call seats and treats. So all 3 parties have the same kind of check-in process. They all go to Tomorrowland Terrace and they ask that you are there 60 minutes prior to the fireworks. If you're part of the pre party or the seats and treats, you will go ahead and enjoy your desserts there at the Tomorrowland Terrace before the fireworks take place. Pre party guests and post party guests are then escorted to a standing area at Plaza Garden. If you are familiar at all with the hub at the Magic Kingdom, where they have the fountain, not the partner statue, but they have the fountain, there's kind of grassy areas that they have throughout there. They will block the areas off for these dessert party guests, and you have that. They call this standing room area. However, a lot of the guests that are inside of this garden viewing will actually sit down. If they're towards the front, they will sit down. That could block your view a little bit, but that is where those are located, in those grassy areas. If you are part of Seats and Treats, you will head to the patio area of Tomorrowland Terrace, where you will sit at a table and have a view of Cinderella's castle. There will be nobody standing in front of you, but it's actually not my favorite view if you're going to do a fireworks party. I typically recommend pre or post. I have the patio at Tomorrowland Terrace is covered, which would be nice if there is inclement weather. However, the covering, because of fireworks being up in the sky, can actually obstruct your view. So, you may have maybe looking at a roof. There's also been guests who have noticed that the ideal viewing spot for the fireworks party, for the fireworks now at the Magic Kingdom, is directly in front of the castle because of the different screens and displays on the castle. And sitting at the patio of Tomorrowland Terrace, you're actually off to the side a little bit. So my recommendation is actually the pre or the post party. And if you have older children, especially, the post party might be ideal for you, because once the fireworks are over, you're escorted back to Tomorrowland Terrace, where you can enjoy desserts while the rest of the park is possibly clearing out, depending on what time the fireworks are and what time the park closes. So I do enjoy the garden one. I enjoy the ability to be able to sit if I want to. You aren't fighting for space. You aren't elbowing a bunch of people to try and get out of the way. And it was just, it can be a much more relaxed experience if you want to view the fireworks. So do you have any thoughts on that, Missy, about your preferred places?
I always have thoughts on everything, Rachel. I don't know if they're good thoughts or not. But as you were just talking, I was just kind of, putting myself there in the Magic Kingdom and in that position. I have done one of the dessert parties before, the one you were just saying, explaining about sitting in the lawn there. That's exactly what we did. And I realized as you were talking, I have a tendency to always trend towards the right side of the castle for the fireworks. So facing the castle, I always go right. And I think the reason I'm naturally inclined to do this is because if it happens to be a night that our favorite fairy Tinkerbell decides to fly, she usually flies on the right side of the castle. It's so odd. She has like the same line of track, like I don't know what to call it. Like her course is the same every night.
Yes.
I mean, her
Pixie
her
dust.
path, I
Pixie
guess her
dust is
path is
always the same.
yes, her pixie dust heads are in the same direction every time, and that will be to the right. So I think that that lawn area there is an ideal spot to be able to view her from, and to me, that is the most impressive part about the fireworks. I will take Tinkerbell flying any night over any projection they could possibly put on the castle. The only thing I can think of that I would rather see on that castle than see Tinkerbell fly would be like put my children on that castle. Like
Yeah.
if you put a photo of my daughters on the castle, I agree that would top Tinkerbell flying. Otherwise, there's nothing they're going to put up on that castle that I'm going to love more than I love seeing Tinkerbell fly. So, yeah, That was a good question and a very thorough answer. So thank you, Rachel. And to our listeners, if you would like to send us a question, we'd be happy to give it a go and try to answer it for you. You can reach us by emailing us at a disneylife at storybookdestinations.com or podcast at storybookdestinations.com. Or you can get in touch with us on one of our social media channels. We've got a YouTube, we've got a TikTok, we've got Instagram, a Disney Life Pod. We have a bit of a Facebook group going. So you can hop on any one of those options to send your questions to us. We absolutely love to try to answer them and keep that conversation going with you because that's what this is really all about here. Without our listeners, it would really just be Rachel and I talking to each other, which we would probably totally do anyway. But I mean, knowing
Yeah,
there's some of you out there listening to us makes it even more exciting. So
makes us feel better.
I just feel like we have so much Disney knowledge. Everyone should be listening to it, whether it's
Yes.
correct or not. Our opinions matter, I think. All right, I'm going to move right into the tip of the week, and I'm going back to Epcot festivals to do that. My tip for you is, festivals can be pricey. We talked about a lot of food. That food's not cheap, and it is not free by any means. So in order to help you budget for that, I recommend getting yourself a gift card to use, something that'll be handy to be able to scan as you're using it. They sell them there right at the festivals that are on handy little spirally wristbands that you can wear if you wanted to, or even just a gift card that you keep on your phone, something that'll help you to track how much you've spent and limit how much you spend throughout the day so things don't get a little out of control there with your festival spending. We are very budget friendly people. I know we talk a lot about traveling and it may seem like we're a little excessive with it, but the reason we love our group travel is because we are able to divide the costs between us and our friends we're traveling with. That's why we love our group events, and that's how we came to start traveling together. So we are very budget friendly, even if we don't seem it.
Agreed. Absolutely agree. This is why we're able to do what we're able to do because we do budget.
So, as we say each and every week, thank you so much to our listeners for listening. We hope that you've enjoyed being part of a Disney life with us today. Now it's time to go. So, I guess we will talk to you all next time.
Bye.